everybody. Hey, Matthew.
Hey, Tipa.
So, Matthew,
Yeah.
special senses and memory.
Okay.
Special senses. And we're going to keep this one relatively short because it's, Saturday and it's special senses. So tell me what I mean by special senses when you hear that, special senses.
Yeah. So it reminds me of like the things that have happened in our life that were some kind of sensory piece that we really were excited about, or were like maybe not so excited about, that left a special mark on us that we could recall or come back to.
Because that's not what I was thinking.
Oh, wow. You were thinking something different. Yeah.
A whole different direction. I went the neurological definition and you went the human interest edition.
Yeah.
When I use the word special senses, it was a really good thing I asked you, because you would be way off base for me, because I was like, where's it going? Because I was thinking special senses are those senses that have cranial nerves attached to them.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Yeah.
And now Matthew's going, oh, now I see your point of view.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I had launched into that, Matthew would be like, huh?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hopefully eventually I would have caught on.
No, you would have caught on. But it meant that we were on two different places. And that's why you always want to sort of initiate with, tell me what you're thinking about special senses.
Yeah.
Because when I say that, what comes to mind? So in other words, I'm acknowledging Matthew probably has a memory about special senses. And I wanted to find out what his memory, what his thinking was about that. It's based on past experiences. Mm-hmm. But as soon as I gave him another frame, he was able to take it. And the way he did it was through a special sense we call auditory processing. So taking in sound and making sense of the sounds that I gave him. What we call them is words, and taking the words and attaching those meaning to those words and into sentences and that's the most complicated one, might I add.
Yeah.
But there are other special senses. And now that Matthew's there, I bet you any money.
So vision. Yeah. So what we see. Yeah. What we take in. Yeah. Visually.
Yeah. That's the optic nerve.
Yeah.
So that was, this was the auditory nerve. So we have the optic nerve,
yeah,
which innervates the eyes. And so all visual processing. And so we have memories that are directed specifically at when we see something, what did I remember of that? And yet then Matthew's idea about special experiences, but visual data is handled sort of distinctly and concretely in the brain differently than just in general. There's a lot of sensory stuff that's, this tactile stuff, pressure. We don't pay attention to a lot of stuff that comes off of our bodies unless it's extreme. We have to ignore it because otherwise we would be overwhelmed by the senses.
Yeah, we would.
Yeah.
Overload. Yeah.
Overload, because there's constant sensory stuff. Yeah. So even with my vision, what I do is start to ignore some data and pay attention to others. But when I don't have enough, I seek something. So if it's really dark in a room, what will I want to do typically?
Yeah, flip on the light.
Yeah. If it's too noisy in the room.
Yeah, if you can control the volume, turn it down somehow. Yeah.
If I can figure out how to control the noise, I'm going to try to control the noise so I can take it in. So if there's not enough, I want to get more. If there's too much, I want to take it down. But those are just two senses. So we have eyesight and we have hearing. Yeah. But we also have within that sort of thing, there's another nerve. It's the eighth one. It's the vestibular, which is that constant keeping up with gravity. And we have like three canals and we have three directions in each, like three directions go in each ear and they communicate across. And it's also wired into vision. So it's super complicated. So there's the vestibular, but then there's visual, and then there's visual's vestibular. So that when the body is moving, I can keep my eyes static still while my body's moving, so I can keep my eyes focused on something. When you can't do that, that's called motion sickness. Everybody's familiar with that. But the idea of being able to keep track of gravity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then we have other senses.
Yeah. Yeah. So smell,
Olfactory. That's
olfactory,
the olfactory nerve, and that's a special one. It has a direct feed into the brain for safety and seeking, sort of like the plus and the minus. And then it has all the other ones that are sort of identifiers of stuff.
Yeah.
And then we have
The taste. Yeah.
taste, and we have all those variations of taste,
Yeah.
so that we can get the right sort of mix for us. And then we have these incredible sensors all over our body for things like pressure, for movement, for pain sensors, for temperature sensors. We have hairs that will like stand up when there's a sense of threat or cold, or and so all those sensors that we have all over, internal and external. And then we have certain one, vasovagal, where there's a nerve that when something is like risky will have a really strong reaction that triggers immediately a change of blood pressure, blood sugar, heart rate, and can actually cause us to pass out and go out, or it can cause us to stir way up. But we also have those nerves that allow us to control urine and feces. And when we put those out in breathing, there's a respiratory nerve. So all these special senses.
Wow. That's a lot of data being processed all in a moment, because all of those things are taking in something somewhere in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's remarkable that our cerebellum and our cerebrum and our primitive brain system work these things out so that we get notified when something's threatening or something's pleasurable or something's needed. But we frequently are not necessarily paying attention to a lot of stuff, but we are recording it. And when people are living with brain changes, suddenly some of the recording devices may not be working. The wiring to them may be frayed or broken. They may not be getting the data. They may getting overloaded with data because they can't sort what's the important from the not important. They may getting alarm signals going off for simple things like clothing on skin, or fluid in my mouth, or the temperature of the space. I'm misregistering it. I might find that when you touch, ouch, because I'm getting too much and I can't sort through the data. So Matthew, when we talk about memories and special senses memories, could I make mistakes about stuff?
Yeah, definitely. You could, if we're not making those connections and pulling those pieces up, that could start to be noticed by other folks, that I'm doing something different than what I've done before, especially if it's a very common one, like a surface is hot. Mm-hmm. And when the light's on in on the thing indicating that the surface is hot, not to touch it. But if I'm not picking up on that, or if I'm not recalling, oh, that means that it's hot, and I'll go to touch it, and then, ooh, whoa.
Be really slow at figuring out what it is that's going wrong, because the wiring that gives me the immediate reaction may not be as quick as it should be. So these are complicated, but there also could be a memory that's fake. So let's say I have arthritis, and when I start to move after I've sat for a while, it's painful. But you are now helping me start to move. So what I unfortunately remember is you caused me pain, and I'm missing the piece in between, the hidden piece of I have arthritis. And it's actually starting to move that causes the pain. It's not you. You're not doing anything to cause me pain. I actually just inherently have pain when I get to move. And what I don't remember is that if I move a little bit, the pain fades. Or if I take Tylenol or whatever I take before about 20 minutes, then I have less pain. But I'm not thirsty. Yes, I know, but you're going to hurt. No, I'm not. I'm not hurting at all. Because unfortunately, this gets super complicated.
Wow.
And
yeah, I mean, just just going over all of the things that we take in and how we take that in is already super complicated. But then when you start to put together how everything works together and how it helps, and then you bring in something like brain change and what that does, and then how that could potentially affect all of those different ways. I mean,
so I think this is going to be coffee, but what's happened is I'm not drinking enough fluid. So you decided to try to put water in here.
uh-oh.
In one case, I might actually drink it and say, oh, this is great. What brand is this? And in that moment, you're like, it's water. What are you talking about? And I'm like, no, it's coffee. Because in that moment, I am tasting coffee, but it's a memory of tasting coffee, not actually tasting the coffee. On the other hand, I might taste coffee and it's bitter, and I think you've done something to my coffee. And it's like, that's the same. It's the way it's always been, Teepa. It's like, no, it isn't. I know what coffee tastes like. You've done something to it. So this is that kind of tricky thing for us. And so I'm going to leave us there, because we're going to come back to this next week. I'm going to talk a little bit more about sensory experiences and how we need to be a little more thoughtful. So till next time, take care with your care, and particularly keep an eye on, keep an ear open, keep a sense aware of the possibility that what you have is memory issues, but it's not just the person living with dementia who's having them. Till next time, take care.
Thanks, Teepa. Bye, everybody.
Hi, I'm Teepa Snow, and you just found our YouTube channel and watched one of our videos. I'm the owner and founder of Positive Approach to Care. Thanks for watching, and if you liked, if you have a comment about, or you would, please share it with people you know. Oh, and if you haven't yet done it, consider subscribing. We'll let you know when the next new video comes out, and you might want to visit our website, www.teepasnow.com, where you'll find other resources as well. See you there.